My money right now is on King Saladin eclipsing the 2.1, 2.2 mark. 0 copies on eBay. That card only sits at 9. So that was another card I theorized could fall under 2,000, under 1,900. And there we have it, 1,774. Today in Project 2020 is climactic for one reason, but not the other. Welcome to episode number 102 of the Project 2020 show. My name is Chris, otherwise known on Twitter and Instagram as @CRT_Sportscards. And my website for everything related to Project 2020 is CRTSportscards.com. But here it is, Wednesday. We have now seen the first 2 print runs for the day, and we have seen card number 300. I will tell you right now, I was very, very underwhelmed by card number 300, but I'll talk about that here in a second. First up, we have to talk about the news that Bob Gibson by Natural under 1,800. But look, it's not really a surprise. When you go back to last night's episode, it sold 0 copies on eBay. So what can be expected when that happens? A very, very low print run. We are in another sort of 4th phase of Project 2020. After card number 233, the Mariano Natural, once that card hit under 2,000, more and more cards have hit that range. It's just a matter of time before we get lower and lower and lower. So 1,802 to 1,774 is just a couple of customers not buying a couple of extra cards. Not that big of a deal, but when you look at Natural and Gibson, this number is what we expected. Now, before we get to card number 299 in Project 2020, touching back on that King Saladin Tony Gwynn, a very, very respectable number, 2,334. That is a very strong start for Saladin for this week. And when you think back to yesterday's cards and their potential print runs tomorrow, there is a chance this Saladin will be the best or highest printed card going into Friday with these 2 cards being announced. Because right now, I do not think either the Jackie Robinson or the King Griffey Jr. will print under 2,334. But taking a look at card number 299, it is this Jackie Robinson by JK5. What is the first thing that comes to your mind when you see this card? For me, it is mesmerizing. This is a utterly fantastic JK5 card. And when he teased it a couple days ago on Instagram, I just wanted to see the card in full. And this is just another incredible evolution of JK5 in the set. But when did we last see JK5 and Jackie Robinson? So with Jackie Robinson, we had him at 281, Keith Shore. Before that, King Saladin, and then Don C. And then on JK5, we had Ken Griffey Jr., Dwight Gooden, and Don Mattingly. So when you look for a common theme or common thread between the artist and the player here, when you take a look back at those print runs of each of their last 3 cards, this card is going to print rather high for the current trend in Project 2020. I think right now, easily this card gets over 3,000. Could this card get to 3.5? I don't know, but I think there are going to be a lot of fans picking up their first JK5 card with this Jackie Robinson. And remember, with JK5, the true detail in the card cannot be seen until you get it in hand and really study the card. Now, turning our binder page to number 300 in Project 2020, here it is, the Ken Griffey Jr. by Ermsy. But I'll tell you right now, this was very, very underwhelming for me personally when I saw this card was number 300. For anyone who has not been around Project 2020 for a very long time, this artwork was teased or leaked many, many months ago, and it had been floating around as far as, could this be the Ermsy card? Could this not be the Ermsy card? Is he going to make another version? As we all know, Ermsy made his cards months before Project 2020 came out. And so I think deep down, I hope this card would never be published in Project 2020. But before I talk about my true motivation in this set and why this card goes against it, let's take a quick look back at Ermsy and then Ken Griffey Jr. We saw Griffey most recently with that JK5. Before that, the Natural and the gold 1 of 1 has been pulled. Check out my Twitter page. And then before that, it was the Gregory Sif. On Ermsy, we saw him most recently with that Willie Mays, Before that, the double Yankee Mattingly. And then before that, we had the balloon arm Nolan Ryan. And so everyone's probably asking, wait, you have built up card number 300 now for weeks, if not months, if not the entire set, and you were underwhelmed by this card. But I think it's critical for me to explain what really keeps me going in Project 2020 and why I find this set so fascinating and so energizing at the end of the day. Every single day of the week, there is a brand new card released 2 times a day, 10 times a week that I have never, ever seen before. And I'm always amazed to see what the artists come up with the base design of their card. And when I saw this card be number 300, it was like, I've seen this before. I don't really care. I don't whatever, it doesn't really matter. So for me, it was a huge letdown because what drives me in Project 2020 is just how new and exciting it is Monday through Friday. But putting aside my personal opinion on the release of the card and just taking a look at the card, I think it's a really great looking Ermsy card. It's what you expect at this moment in the set. When it comes to Ermsy, even if you had never seen this card before, this is what you expect. And it is very clear, the fans have spoken. This card at 8 o'clock tonight had sold 28 copies. So a very, very strong start after day number 1 of eBay pre-sales. So you're looking at maybe a print run here over 4,000, 4.5. I saw people on Twitter saying it's gonna get to 7, it's gonna get to 10K. I don't think we're anywhere near that anymore in Project 2020. And then taking a look at the JK5 Jackie Robinson, actually very, very low pre-orders after day number 1, only 8 copies sold. So we'll see if that picks up today or tomorrow on this card and get that card back up over 3,000, because right now having only 8 pre-orders does not tell me that it's going to get over 3,000 as I thought about earlier in the show. And then looking back at the Tuesday cards, where do they stand at 8 o'clock tonight? The Sandy Koufax by Mr. Cartoon, 18 copies sold. So when you relate that to the King Saladin Tony Gwynn, I think we could see a very, very similar number. But here's the big challenge at the moment. The Joshua Vides Frank Thomas has just 7 pre-orders on the books as of tonight. When you think back to the Gibson, what did he have? He had 9 going into release, and he printed at 1774. So everything tells us right now this card could fall under 1774, because remember, Ichiro just printed barely over 2,000, and Frank Thomas and Ichiro are not in the same ballgame. The question remains, will this card fall under 1,700? I think it's likely, but we will find out. With that, have a fantastic Wednesday evening, and I'll see you back tomorrow night for episode number 103 of the Project 2020 show.